Has the greatest masterpiece since Planet of the Apes hit theaters? And was it delivered by Marvel? Also, what if and DC fandom talks here on Keeping Up with the Nerds. Let's start the intro! From 12920 Philadelphia Street, Whittier, California, in the heart of Uptown Whittier, Keeping Up with the Nerds presents issue number 63. My name is Bryan.
Rene.
And welcome to the show, everyone.
Yeah.
How's that intro?
That was actually pretty good.
Yeah?
He got Nick by surprise.
I know, I saw him the entire time.
My intros are better.
But no, you know what? I will say that your intro has been like living in my mind rent-free for the last week.
Which one?
The one where you were rhyming the entire time.
I was rhyming?
Yeah, because you said, I think it was like Candyman blew my mind, something that rhymed.
Oh, that little, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You made a little, like, rap lyric.
You're welcome.
It was good. I was like,
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. I was actually like...
I didn't mean to.
Well, it impressed me, so...
Shouldn't be. I was just talking, and then it just happened.
I was just being me.
just being my magical self.
Yeah.
Well, here the nerds are recording almost at midnight.
Yes.
After watching
yes.
Shang-Chi.
There's a reason why we're here after.
Shang-Chi.
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 Not Shang-Chi.
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 Shang-Chi. Say it with me slow.
Shang-Chi.
There you go.
Shang-Chi.
No, you're not got it.
You couldn't have figured out a better name than Sean?
That was actually really funny. I actually really did like that.
So before we go on with this issue, because we do have 3 topics to discuss.
Right.
This is a spoiler-filled podcast.
Yes.
We're gonna spoil the heck out of Shang-Chi.
At this point,
You wanted to say Shang-Chi.
I did. I was like, oh shoot, no.
what was it? At this point, I think it's been out for about 6 days now. It's been
when
been
this
out for,
airs, yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's been out for almost a week.
By the
So-
time this issue releases.
Yeah, by the time this issue releases, it's out for about a week, almost.
I feel like the first week when this comes out, but when we get the numbers in, it won't be as big as we think it is. I think the second week is going to be a better one.
You know what? I don't agree.
You don't?
I think it's because our theater was pretty full.
It was.
Our theater was pretty full, and it wasn't a bad movie. It was really good.
And we had a good theater, too. A good crowd of people.
There was
We had some
people weren't as some kids were there, and which also I don't know why they were there so late. Like,
That's true.
Like it was.
Well, no, okay, it's Friday, so they don't
It's
got
Friday.
school tomorrow.
Well, it's Friday and it's Labor Day weekend.
I'm just going to let you guys discuss the ergonomics of a theater while I eat my McFlurry over here.
Which did you get? Did you get the M&M?
I got the M&M ones.
Okay.
Why?
For once, the ice cream
Savage.
machine. What do you mean, why?
Savage.
M&M is great.
M&M?
Nah, man, it's Oreo all the way.
You can get both.
Mixed?
Yeah.
They allow that?
Yeah.
You savage.
You can only have
You
one.
can only be one.
Before we move on to the topic,
That's
did you
solid.
guys hear how the FDA, is it the FDA or it was like a different agency in the government is like finally investigating why McDonald's ice cream machines are like always broken?
I bet
Wait,
you like
they
a
are?
politician.
Yeah, I thought that was a joke, but no, apparently like they're investigating as to why. Because of like I guess according to like a true rumor out in the internet, McDonald's only gets ice cream machines from one company. And basically, if they go out of their way to hire an external person or company to fix those machines, I think that company can sue McDonald's. They're contracted to basically call the company that manufactures those machines for repairs.
I do think it's kind of funny because I did see I think there was a TikTok I had watched where this guy he dressed up in like a jumpsuit and he came and he said, "Oh yeah, I'm here to fix the ice cream machine."
He jumped, like a maintenance suit or something.
Like a maintenance suit, and he just walked in, he turned it on. And it worked fine.
It worked because it should be working. They were like, "Oh,
Okay. But it's always like a gamble. Like when we stop by McDonald's, like, is your ice cream machine working? Yeah. Oh, okay, great. I'll take 2 McFlurries.
There's an actual I don't think it's an app, but I know there's a website that it has.
There's an app.
There's an app for it.
Oh,
now.
that shows like
It shows which ice cream machines are down.
That's awesome.
Because it's like community run, so like people will like flag it if like it's down, and then like flag it when it's up. Stuff like that.
I remember one time I got a free McFlurry because apparently I was like sitting there and then I was just waiting for my food, and then apparently I guess they made a wrong McFlurry that the customer wanted, and the manager's like, well, she goes, she sees me, we make eye contact, and she's like, here. I'm like, I didn't order this. No, it's free. Go ahead. Like, they wanted it. I was like,
why are you even arguing? It's a free McFlurry.
Yeah.
He was like,
just take it.
He's like, I don't want it. Like,
I will say this, unpopular opinion: McDonald's coffee is so much better than Starbucks.
It's all right.
They're mixed drinks and stuff. So
it's always super watered down though.
good throw. Guest appearance by Mandy.
right.
You hit her in the face. Domestic abuse, bro.
Sorry,
Like,
it's getting
what the
because we have the
hell?
AC on, so they
'cause it's
wanted
hot
the
in this
blanket.
damn studio.
It gets warm quick.
Why did you cuss?
I didn't cuss. I said Shang-Chi.
It's Shang-Chi.
I went Sean.
All right. Speaking about Shang-Chi,
Yes, let's get to the
let's
meat.
get to the topic,
Get to the meat
ladies
and
and
potatoes.
gentlemen.
Meat and potatoes of the
Meat and
episode.
potatoes, the balls and sack of this.
What are you
let's-
talking about? Why do you say things like in the middle of a conversation when people are talking, you just murmur things? And I'm like, what are you trying to say?
What do you mean?
We're talking about Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi!
Listen,
Count the number of times we keep saying
Right.
Shang-Chi.
Oh yeah, you have
Bryan?
to tally it.
Brian,
Yes.
Brian, we're
What?
trying to talk about a topic. We don't need you derailing things, okay? Can you stay on topic, please? All right.
It says.
Let me eat my
it's-
McFlurry.
I was gonna
Be-
say it's
be
because it's
professional.
McFlurry.
McFlurry.
It's the McFlurry.
You can tell.
McFlurry.
Jesus.
You can tell we're recording this close to midnight.
Yeah.
I'm not. I don't know if you noticed, but I did buy a Monster when we walked into the movie theater.
Did you really?
I bought one.
I
And
didn't
chugged,
notice
I
that.
chugged the heck out of it.
Why
as
do
soon
you
as we
do
walked
that
in.
to yourself, man?
Because I was falling asleep.
Oh, God.
Because you guys saw me when I walked in. I was like, ugh.
We
And then
called
I-
you too. We heard you on Brian's car.
'cause
Like,
I-
when he called you, he's like, "Yeah."
Because I fell asleep in my car.
So, did this movie make you fall asleep?
Actually, no, I was interested the whole time. I was actually kind of surprised because at a certain point I did check my watch, but I checked my watch because I was like, I feel like we're like getting to the end of this movie.
And it didn't end.
I felt like we were getting to the end of that movie, and it was when they got to the base.
Yeah,
Because I felt like they got to the base super quick.
Are you talking about the 10 Rings base?
Yeah.
Spoilers alert.
Well, I mean,
Spoiler
that-
alert. No, I know, but
that
I'm telling
isn't-
people at this point.
yeah.
Like, if they're like 5-7 minutes into this issue and they're like, what do you mean, what base? I didn't know that there were the 10 rings. I'm spoiling.
I'll be totally honest with you. That part,
Mandarin's in here. What?
yeah,
What?
that part is in the trailer.
Captain America makes an appearance. What? Just-
What? He tells you there's no end credit scene.
Yeah. What was it? Don't listen to Brian. There are two of them. There were several people that walked out.
I know. I saw that.
There was a lot of people that walked out after the first one, and then I was like, do they know something I don't? And then I looked it up, and I was like, Rene, there's two. And he's like, yeah, I know.
I know. Yeah. I literally, right before I was closing here, I literally had a customer. They're like, "Oh yeah, there's 2 after credits." I'm like, "Okay, cool, thank you."
Well, thanks for seeing the obvious, Captain Obvious.
Yeah, I knew. See, the only thing is that I didn't like it because we saw it a day late because technically it came out on Thursday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It came out Thursday night, and I was flipping through YouTube earlier today, and somebody had like a screen grab of Wong
Oh.
like talking to them, and
Oh, that
like,
sucks.
and it says like after credit scene, and I was like, damn it, like so I knew Wong was showing up.
Yeah.
I knew the after credit scene had something to do with Wong.
Yeah.
I didn't know what, but I just knew it had something to do with it.
So let's not skip towards the end. Let's
Yeah,
discuss
let's-
the movie
yeah.
as well. We have an hour-long issue. We're only talking about 3 podcasts or three topics.
We're talking about 3 different podcasts today. Let's do it. Who else are we
do it.
talking about? Who
We
we talking
bash-
about?
That's coming in November.
Let's do some Shang-Chi.
Little tease for everyone else. It's coming in November.
All right. Anyway, but no, for this movie, the movie is it very much kind of like goes along those same things as like Enter the Dragon, stuff like that. I felt like the bamboo scene was pulled from like Rush Hour 2.
Yeah,
Because
that
that's
whole
a fight.
Oh, yeah.
That fight, the fight in the bamboo, that is very much pulled from Rush Hour 2. I totally understand why
The
people.
skyscraper fight, right?
Yeah. And I totally understand why people were saying it's very Jackie Chan-esque.
Yeah, because
the fighting.
I was getting, and which I love. That's why I like this movie a lot, is because it reminded me of very much as Jackie Chan style fighting,
Right.
especially when he's fighting on the bus.
Yes, where he's
Yeah.
using his environment.
So this movie essentially is like 12-year-old me was just super happy to watch this movie entirely.
Yeah.
Because it was a very kung fu like it was a
Driven.
very kung fu movie, very traditional.
Right.
Yeah.
And there was even a scene, I don't know if you guys picked up on it, when you go into his bedroom, there's posters of the Warrior and Kung Fu Hustle
Yeah, it is.
in the background, and you're like, that's dope. It's
Yeah.
like they're trying to like let you know this is going to be that kind of movie. The
Right.
movie it's just a kung fu movie with like advanced CG.
Yeah, the what was it? It's a kung fu movie that's made by a major studio.
Yeah.
It's a kung fu movie that's made by a major studio. I do like the ideas that they kind of introduced. I liked seeing Macau because I thought that was really interesting, which is basically just the Vegas of China, and
Oh yeah.
and everything else. But because I thought they were gonna, instead of going to Macau, I thought they were going to go to the same place that they went to Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Manipur?
I thought they were gonna go to Manipur.
Yeah. I thought so too, honestly. I was getting that kind of vibe.
Yeah, I originally thought they were going to go to Manipur and everything else. And yeah, not only that, but also they still kind of didn't tell you who sent the letter to kind of
That's,
It was the
this whole-
dad. Like you're assuming it's the dad. Essentially, this movie.
Is it though?
Yeah, they kind of assume. So let me put it this way: this movie has a pattern in which everything is told to you, but suddenly.
Right.
Because this movie starts off like with like a good origin of how Shang-Chi was born, like how his father came to be.
yeah. How long his father's been around and
all
stuff.
this other stuff. They tell you the story, and then bam, drops you in the middle of San Francisco because he's a valet driver, right? You get this comedic aspect between Katie, who's played by Awkwafina, and Shang-Chi. I forget the actor's name. Can you look him up real quick?
Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was interesting though that in Shang-Chi they never mention Ant-Man and the Wasp. And I thought that was kind of interesting.
So it goes back to the point that I'm trying to make is that like this movie kind of tells you things so suddenly because we go from a very comedic, very organic, normal lifestyle between two different characters.
Right.
And then within like seconds, they drop you into an action movie. Shang-Chi knows how to fight. He can kick ass on a bus and save lives. Now there's more to the story that's being told.
What I thought was really interesting though is that I don't know if you've ever seen Kim's Convenience.
Isn't the actor?
The actor is in that,
Yeah.
and I've noticed that the very beginning of the movie very much feels like an episode of Kim's Convenience because it's all about like this it's about this guy who like he hasn't like really amounted to a whole lot, and then he has like family issues and stuff like that. And I thought the beginning, because they're trying to kind of like do this cultural thing where they're like introducing their culture, they're introducing like the idea that people live on past their death. Like that's very much an Eastern thing of, you know, people's like spirits and everything like that.
They don't shy away from any of the culture.
No,
in the
very
movie.
much not. And I thought that was really cool. And then they even mentioned like, oh yeah, like people like moving on is very much a Western thing of like they're gone, they move on, you're done, and everything else. Whereas we as in Eastern culture, it's much more of like they live on. In us, they live on in the area, the life and everything like that. It branches on ancestrally, and I thought that was interesting too. The idea of like names and stuff like that, because they mentioned it several times that like names are very important, like your family name. That's very, very important.
Your Chinese name.
Yes, because like a lot of people have like I don't know if you have a lot of like Chinese like friends or
they're given like Americanized names essentially to make it simple.
And a lot of them are given their Americanized names by middle school.
Yeah.
It's usually like their middle school teachers, or like it's like they get a middle school, like while going into middle school they'll get like a Chinese like an American name and stuff like that. Like I know one of my students, his name is like Derek, but like his mom refers to him as like something totally different.
Yeah, I had a few friends like that too. That most the friends that I knew when I was in elementary school, a lot of them were named Daniel. We had like 2 different Daniels,
Right.
But they were from the same heritage as well too. But they had obviously their family names.
Yeah, I think that's so interesting. The idea that they really started kind of talking about like the idea of Shang-Chi, and then also like why like you chose Sean, like of all the names you picked Sean. And that was that's a
I was
great
14
bit.
years old. What did you expect from me?
Yeah, like it's a great bit. It's such a like I have to admit Awkwafina did do, because there are times where Awkwafina is too much.
Yeah, we'll talk about it when we get into like the whole acting portion of it and stuff. But like in terms of like the references and like respecting the culture and things like that, like we can all agree that Shang-Chi did a great job in kind of like pulling from its source material and respecting it. Like the entire time, we were talking about this once the film was over. There were a lot of portions of the fighting that were very fake. Like, I feel like the fighting was like a lot of it was practical. I think that was like one of the big tropes that they were talking about for this movie was like, oh yeah, like the fighting sequences between, I think it was like in the skyscraper when he's fighting the ninja in blue.
Yeah.
All of that's a practical fight.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
he said he even caught the knife.
Yeah.
Like when he threw the knife at him,
And
he goes up and he catches it. He said like I think it took him like 30 tries and they finally got it right.
Yeah, so that's practical and it makes it so much better. But the bus scene,
Yeah.
when the bus goes over the hill, I get it. Like sometimes you can't really shoot practically because it costs too much money, time constraints, given the fact that this was dangerous, things like that. And also this was filmed during COVID.
Yes.
You know, I understand, but it looked fake.
Did it?
It didn't
Yeah.
sell me on that.
I have to admit there is something like I don't know if you've ever seen Ip Man.
Yes.
And there is something to the idea of him fighting in a real environment and like things are breaking around him, and like him using like his environment and him doing all these other things.
The bus scene when it goes through the tunnel, and there's that sequence where it starts at the very beginning of the bus, and he's moving towards the very end, slowly taking everyone out and throwing them out the windows and stuff. All of that using your environment. You know,
It's really cool.
It's dope.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
it's really, really good.
I was happy the entire time with every fight sequence. I was like, yeah, this is the stuff I grew up on.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I think it's really funny that they finally got a kung fu character right.
No, but that
true.
is okay. So
Because I have to admit, because some of the fight scenes inside of like let's just say Iron Fist, they're not as good. Like they're not as polished as this is.
no.
Like you know that yes, it is Netflix, but it's really hard for you to go like, oh yeah, it's Netflix, and that's why it wasn't as good when you then see Daredevil.
That's the thing.
And-
Yeah, it's not really an excuse because you see how Daredevil and the choreography is in that.
Right.
And then when you get a kung fu based show, or at least a kung fu based character like Iron Fist.
And they don't really show kung fu all that much.
So-
like it's a lot of like brawling.
You gave an example like Ip Man. Raid is also another
Raid,
one,
yeah.
right?
Raid is a good one.
Rush Hour, technically, I guess that's more of a that's more Americanized, but like it still borrows because you're using Jackie Chan.
Well, no, but the thing is that I feel that they did use Rush Hour or Shanghai Nights.
Yeah.
Very much as like kind of like a blueprint for this, because you have a character who is introduced and understands the world and he understands the lore where he's at. Then you also have this fish out of water. And that would be Awkwafina. Awkwafina's character is the fish out of water that this character is now introducing, who is like there's a lot of like scenes in like where like Chris Tucker or Owen Wilson, they're fighting alone against a big bad, and normally in the very beginning of the movie they would have gotten their butts kicked in the rear.
Enter the Dragon.
And
The sequence where he's getting taught by his aunt
yes,
how to fight, how to beat his dad because his mom used to.
Yes.
Like that entire background it felt very Enter the Dragon.
I feel like you should like preference that, because it just sounds like his mom just beats the heck out of like the dad, and that's why he's evil.
Oh no, they like just dance and made love with their eyes essentially.
No, but I did also like the idea that we'll get to. Well, I think we should get to that once we get there, because that is very much because if in a lot of like different martial arts movies, they very much say that martial arts is a dance.
It is, yeah.
It's a dance that you learn, you hone, you master, and then it takes like great discipline. It takes all these techniques, stuff like that. But the reason why I was saying like it very much takes those things from like Shanghai Nights and what was it, and Rush Hour, is because you have this kind of comic relief. That was like Chris Tucker's character.
Yeah.
That's Owen Wilson. That's
Aquafina was his character.
Aquafina was that fish out of water, or like comedic relief of like kind of like the normal person that's thrown into this, where it's normal to everyone else that there is like a fighting ring, or that there's assassins coming to kill them.
Magic water that tells a map.
Yeah, like magic water that tells a map, or anything like that. And she's kind of like the layman person that's been thrown into this and is now going like, you guys are all high.
Yeah.
Who are you?
But it's funny. It's funny how they made her a character like that when really the Avengers have been around for a while. And so to find all that stuff like unbelievable, you know, to have that mentality, like I just saw a water map. I'm like, well, you've seen like aliens come down from the sky, or you've witnessed
But
that.
that's magic.
But
that's where you can kind of get away with that, because technically we've dealt with all the alien stuff already with like the Avengers. Now with the introduction of like Doctor Strange and like the multiverse and things like that, now it's starting to get funky and weird, because it's like, okay, now we're not dealing with like
but to find out that magic is like, to find out like, okay, you already live in a world that's very sci-fi based, and then to find out like magic exists, like, is it really feel like it's out there?
No, but the thing is,
it wouldn't happen to you. That's what it is.
But when you think about it, would people really know about magic being a thing?
Yes and no, because they mentioned it where I think it was Katie's mom is like, you know, sometimes you just got to take risks, because at any moment half the population can die. And so there's that kind of like
but because that's something that was because I feel like that is something that everybody had to deal with because of the blip and everything. Whereas magic, like let's say Doctor Strange. Yes, Doctor Strange has been in the universe for, you know, years now at this point.
Yeah.
But at the Battle of New York, there wasn't anybody that was like there that was like recording it or like documenting what was going on. Mainly, they're getting the information from the Avengers, and the Avengers are basically saying the Avengers fought Thanos. They're not specifically saying who. They're just saying the Avengers fought Thanos.
So magic is still kind of a mystery, because even what about, you know, Wanda? Well, isn't she technically a magician? Like, can't she just use magic?
But that's very much an isolated incident.
Exactly. So that's that. Like, I mean, that could be you can make excuses as to why. I do want to go back on a point that you were saying about how this felt like very old school kung fu, borrowing from different things and stuff like that. Because we talked about it on the car ride back here. We're talking about the of Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
Basically his origins and stuff like that. You being the comic book expert.
I'm gonna be totally honest.
Working at Undercity Comics.
Yeah, I the only thing I was really looking forward to, and I really wanted it, and I did think it was kind of interesting that they made it so that way they made the armor of the 10 rings very stylistically, you know, Eastern in origin, but also I thought it was very creative that they basically gave them face masks without having to give them face masks.
Who?
The entire 10-ring army.
Oh yeah.
Where they basically had all of them wearing face masks. So now during COVID, they all had to wear face masks.
Yeah.
And it just works out that way. But besides that, I just thought it was interesting.
You start to notice these little like details and stuff like that. But no, you're good. You're good. Don't drop anything. Going back to the origin of Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
This character was created in the 70s, correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
There is a small video on the channel Variant. We've mentioned them before on the podcast. It's a great channel.
They're very informative.
Yeah, he's very informative. He's doing a history of Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
And like the different characters. I think he's doing it like this week as of the release of the
He's
podcast.
doing all the characters. He just did the history of Shang-Chi, the origin of Shang-Chi, and he just uploaded the history of the Mandarin.
Yeah.
Right.
So he's doing all those, and it's kind of long story short. Shang-Chi was created in response to a lot of the kung fu kind of like uprising, I guess, that was happening here in the States.
Yeah. In the
They
70s.
capitalized it.
In the 70s, there was a huge like just upsurgence of like kung fu.
Yeah.
And like karate and like different martial arts
So
and stuff like that.
I think that's why this movie does so well, because you can't mess that up. When your source material is based off source material from that era, the only way you can actually mess it up is essentially like ignoring it all.
Yeah.
So there was no way this could have been, done wrong unless they like, I guess in like a term, like whitewash this.
Yeah.
Yes, and I feel like that was kind of the mistake that happened with Iron Fist. There was just a lot of whitewashing. There's not a whole lot of respect for the culture. There's just kind of like this like, I don't want to get in trouble for it, but anyway, whatever. It's very much this white savior type thing.
No, you're not wrong.
Yeah, no.
Where it's just like, oh yeah, like they like the what is it? They can't defeat the hand until this white dude comes and like saves everybody.
But
but it doesn't. But the thing is that like I really enjoyed the way that they explained the cultural aspects of like kung fu and stuff like that. Whereas in Iron Fist, it's much more of like he doesn't really talk about like meditating or how exactly he like embraces the like the fire of the dragon.
That's the thing. He comes back and he's just like a total Zen dude. That's it. And it's just like, oh yeah, I'm just trying to get back to my normal life. And it's like, I'm Danny Rad. And just the whole time he's just going, I'm Danny Rad.
You watched Iron Fist?
I watched like the first 4 episodes. I didn't watch it, and then I didn't watch it after that. And then after that, I just watched Defenders. And I'm like, I hope I don't need to watch Iron Fist. And you don't. It's like you're watching it and you're like, okay.
I mean, the foot. I mean, no, not the foot. The hand.
That's Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
The Foot Clan.
The Foot Clan.
Foot, hand, whatever. But that's, but yeah, you know what? The only thing I was kind of looking forward to, and I was a little disappointed, and I'm hoping like later on you get it, is I wanted a scene like in the Raid 2. Because I just think that would have been so cool.
Oh, like a fight scene?
Like a fight scene.
Are you talking about one in the kitchen?
No.
The hallway?
Talking about the one in the restroom.
Oh,
like the restroom fight scene where it's like where like he just has like 30 people rushing him and he then has to figure out how exactly do I funnel them.
So how can you show that in a Chinese market though? Because that's the thing, and that's another.
Well, I mean, also you have to remember that's Korean. That's a Korean fight.
Exactly. So they're allowed to show like the cracking, the blood.
Well, but I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I wanted something that.
Like
that something like that, but also something that showed how really good he is and stuff like that. Where like yes, you already had it where like he was fighting like 3-4 people.
Yeah, he could fight people 1-on-1.
Yeah, like he could definitely fight people 1-on-1. He can definitely fight like maybe like 5-6 people. Mm-hmm. But I wanted that like that moment of showing like yes, Shang-Chi is like he's one of like the masters of like kung fu of like 30 people rushing him and he's like trying to figure out and he's using his environment to like better manipulate like so that way he can like funnel them or he's trying to like do anything like that, and I think that's really cool.
They also did that in another movie. It was on Amazon Prime, Tom Clancy's Without Remorse with Michael B. Jordan.
Really?
He's in a prison cell and then like all the guards are about to come in, they're getting ready, and he floods his sink, puts everything in there, and he uses the water because the water is overflowing.
So it's all slippery?
It's all slippery, yeah. He's all getting ready. He's putting like wraps around his arms and stuff like that. And he's like going like this. And then like they just come and he just like slams the guy on the sink and tries to drown one guy and stuff like that.
I actually do want to see that.
It's good.
Is it a movie or a show?
It's a movie.
Okay.
I saw it on there. I think I almost started like the first like 15-20 minutes and then
it's really good.
It's not that it was that I was tired. And then I felt,
you need to chug a monster, you know?
Yeah.
Huh?
You need to chug a monster.
Well, I mean, when you put a movie on at like 11 o'clock at night, you're not expecting to finish it.
That's true. You kind of like, you're like 20 minutes in, you're like, wait, how long is this going?
I'm not. That's why a lot of the times I don't put new stuff on when I'm trying to go to bed.
I hate doing that.
Yeah, but I thought the characters were also really interesting too. I really liked the main character. I liked Shang-Chi. I really did like this idea of somebody who wanted to reform.
Yeah,
like he
was
realized,
it really a reform? Because I felt like he knew who he was. He just kind of chose to run away from it.
Well, the thing is that I feel like it is a reform because he has to then, because he took what his dad taught him.
Okay.
And became an assassin. Committed the first one and then realized that what I did, my mother would never approve of. Mm-hmm. That is something that she would absolutely shun.
Mm-hmm. And that was the scene you missed, by
Vengeance.
the way.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the scene you missed.
I was wondering.
Wait, what scene did you miss?
Because he walked out to use the restroom. Yeah. It was the scene where he... it was the scene where he kind of like... confesses that's like, oh, remember when I told you on the plane that I didn't go through with the hit? I actually did.
Yeah,
and he kind of tells this whole origin story of like, okay, well, the whole point was like my mom died at the hands of the Iron Gang or something like that, right? Who basically said like a blood debt must be paid in blood or something like that.
Yeah. A debt paid in blood must be repaid in blood.
That would have been cool if that scene would have shown her fighting those group of like 30 men. I would have loved to see it, but I don't think that they would have had like, I don't think.
See, but that's the thing though, is that I felt like that was the scene I was looking for.
Yeah,
that scene
it
of like 30 people, but also I feel that is a 15-minute scene. I feel like that's a 15-minute
You can
scene.
do it at 5 minutes and then kind of like do a slow-mo grab where it's like just the shadows and he's seeing it through a window, and then it just cuts to the dad coming upstairs again and seeing
You could
just show I was gonna say in that scene you could have just showed the mom having somewhat of an upper hand, and then like maybe like you said,
I think it was just the numbers.
Yeah, and then just the numbers got to her and stuff. So
yeah,
because I mean there's a lot of like. Because there's a lot of like different inspirations for that. Like even in Ip Man, I think there's one where like he's surrounded by like.
Are we pronouncing that correctly? Is it Ip Man or IT Man? I've heard both.
It's Ip Man.
Okay.
I've heard IP. Some people say IP Man, but that's more of the.
It is literally called
Ip Man.
Ip Man.
It's Ip Man.
I've had the casual people just say
IP Man.
IP Man. Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Bruce Lee's master is named IP Man.
Yeah.
That was Bruce Lee's master. You think that's what the movie is called? Is IP Man?
I used to work at a video store.
Someone-
IP Man.
Yeah.
Like
he's telling you his experiences. Why you got to be mad? He's not the one. He's not the one calling it IP Man.
he did right now.
No, he's saying that's what his customers called
when
it.
I worked at a video store.
they're all on crack.
If you stopped yelling for 2 seconds and listened to it, maybe you'd understand the story.
You have no. There is no place for you to talk right now. There's absolutely like that is like calling the kettle calling pot black. Like that's.
He did it again on the. I'll talk about it after. But he did it again on the car right here. Remember about people walking by themselves and stuff.
What do you? Oh,
But I'll say after. Hold on, we'll talk about it after.
So, it's like, what are you talking about?
So
man?
anyway, but I really did. I thought that was like a missed opportunity because you know that she is a master kung fu artist. But I would have.
It's two different styles. Like the dad was more of an aggressor, and you saw that. Okay, going back to this whole thing because we do have to move on to the characters as well. Like they respect the different forms and of how you fight in those things because his dad was very much like fists. Like this was his fighting stance.
Oh yeah, they
and
point
then the
that out,
mom was like holding something with her like right hand. It's all about the open palm and the posture.
Easiest way to put that: Dad is Cobra Kai. Mom is very much Miyagi-Do. And then the son is a combination of the both.
Yeah, because he learns
of Miyagi-Do.
In the end, he learns.
Miguel.
He's Miguel.
He learns at the end because even at the end when he's fighting the Leviathan looking soul dragon, he's
the D&D dragon.
Yeah, the D&D dragon. He's using the rings in a manner that's not like aggressive. It's not like a push. It's more of like I'm going to control the rings around me and use them as like a shield. Yeah. Rather than it like a force.
He's on defense.
Yeah.
It's more like he's not using the force of the rings. He's manipulating the force. He understands how to move it around.
So I'm gonna say this:
if you go by like Avatar, like because Avatar used a lot of like real martial arts for their bending, and stuff like that.
M. Night Shyamalan, how dare you?
Yeah. So a lot of his movements you can tell is
because you've never seen it. Oh my god!
You still haven't watched Avatar.
Yeah, wait, the show or the movie?
Both. You've never seen the show. You don't need to see the movie. The movie it's atrocious.
Yeah.
The show.
I'll beat you with your mic. How is it of all the things you haven't seen is that?
Because it's not.
Didn't have cable.
Did you say that you found it boring or something like that?
I watched like the first 4 episodes and I was just like, okay. You know
what? Honestly, I can get that.
The first book is like kind of difficult to get through.
No, it's not. No, it's
towards the end. It's not, but like
the first book is very much we're introducing you to the characters, we're showing you where they are, but the thing is that it's the journey. It's definitely the journey.
It's not the goal. It's the journey.
But yeah, and what was it? but that's besides the point. We'll get in.
He'll beat you with your mic later.
Yeah, I'll fight you naked. Let's do this. I'm gonna beat you with your mic while I'm naked. Yeah. Anyway, but what I'm saying is that she was more using like kind of like the flowing water, whereas he was using more of like
the flow of wind, like an airbender.
No, because I imagined her because she was surrounded by water. She also was embraced by the water dragon. She was using a lot.
Are you talking about the sister or the mom?
The mom.
Okay, sure.
She was a lot more like water, and the what was it? And he was more like sturdy.
Yeah, no,
he had a lot more solid stances of like I will not be moved.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think earthbending borrows from kung fu, and waterbending is
it's not Muay Thai.
It's I know firebending is like jujitsu or like kickboxing or something like that.
Firebending has a mixture of jiu-jitsu and kickboxing. Yeah, because that's where all the
watch the show. Watch it because it's good. Anyways, going back to the whole thing.
One of Dave Filoni's best things. Anyway,
that's right.
Oh, that's right. I keep forgetting.
Dave Filoni worked on it. Yeah, that's what.
He's touched all our hearts some way or another, be it by Star Wars or by Avatar.
Whenever I hear someone say that, I always think of what was it, School of Rock?
Yeah.
The scene where he's like, "Oh, your children have touched me," and I'm pretty sure I touched them. It's a great
the
scene.
parents are just staring at him.
Just like, oh God. And he's just like, wait, what did I say? But yeah, the kung fu aspect and everything else, I feel like they really did the research and they really had an understanding of different styles of kung fu.
They respected it entirely, and it progressed the plot in a way. This is the thing about this movie, is that at no point does it make you feel like a stupid viewer, and that's a good thing about. Like, that's the one thing that I feel like a good kung fu movie should do. You should be walking away from the movie going like, that was fun, and I felt like I learned something, or that I kind of knew what was going on. Like, you pay attention to the details, because there's a lot of people that I know that are like hardcore like fighting movie enthusiasts, action movies, and they're like, oh, well, you watch that's not even a good movie. If you want a good action movie that
you're not a good movie. Sorry.
Yeah, and it's like they'll reference it, but like that's the thing, is you can walk out of this movie and be like, I noticed this stance, this detail in the stance. I noticed, the detail in this kind of like reference to the culture and all these different things. It progressed and used it in a way to progress the story effectively.
But it also did homage to older kung fu movies, like just like what was it, like what's it called? I think it's in Enter the Dragon. He ends up. No, is it Enter the Dragon that he fights Chuck Norris, Bruce Lee?
No,
yeah.
No, it's not. It's
not.
What's it called?
It's one of his older.
It's way older. It's like mid to early 70s. I cannot remember what the name of the movie is right now.
While Rene looks it up, let's move on to the actors.
Yeah, but
you want to move on to the actors?
Yeah, hold on. But let me just finish my point. The idea of it is that what was it? It's a very much a classic thing of putting people who have more Western fighting styles up against Eastern fighting styles.
Yeah.
And you can see that inside of the inside of Razor Fist.
Yeah.
You saw that in him, where he was much more of like a boxer brute with a sword.
Just stabby, slice.
Yeah, he was stabbing and he was punching and everything like that.
Yeah.
And it was much more of like he had a boxer stance as he was fighting. And honestly, I have to admit, even in Ip Man 3, that's awesome when he fights Mike Tyson.
Yeah,
so cool. I don't know if you've ever seen. Have you ever seen?
I think I've seen the first one. It was like a while ago.
The Warrior Within.
There it is. But yeah, in Ip Man 3, he fights Mike Tyson, and him and Mike Tyson just have like a brawl where like Mike Tyson is just this brute that's just destroying walls and destroying beams and stuff like that. And you see
Tyson chicken.
But you see Ip Man just like trying to dodge him. He hits him once, but you can see like he hits him once, and it's one of those things of like, I can't get hit by this.
No.
Like I can maybe take 2 more of those and I'm out.
I'm just thinking of Mike Tyson, and he goes like, I'm gonna get you, IP man. I'm gonna smash you. I'm gonna smash you. Then I'm gonna bite your ear off.
I'm the greatest of all time.
So going
Talks
on
to the camera. You know that IP man. I'm gonna murder him.
I'm gonna murder him.
So going to the characters,
I feel bad. Mike Tyson's a good guy.
He's gonna come over.
Mike Tyson. I don't want to get knocked out by.
how's he gonna? If he comes through the door, what is he gonna say?
the door. He's gonna smack. He's just sock me in the face.
I hear you making fun of me.
On your Keeping Up with the Nerds podcast.
Characters. Yes. I will say this, probably unpopular opinion. It was probably the weakest point of the entire movie.
For what?
The characters. Like the way
Which
certain
ones?
actors portrayed the characters at certain points.
Like
Awkwafina during some moments of intensity. I think she was so funny in moments where it needed to have that comic relief. Mm-hmm. She was perfect. Like, her responses didn't feel forced or scripted. They kind of felt natural. Mm-hmm. Oh, you couldn't think of a better name than Sean? Mm-hmm. Shang-Chi? Like, it felt natural.
That was great.
But moments of, like, intensity where she was like, don't get me wrong. This is what I'm going to say. I love Awkwafina. Yes. I love her. Mm-hmm. She's just phenomenal in this movie. Mm-hmm. Like, it just, if it wasn't for the main actor, mm-hmm. played Shang-Chi.
What was his name again?
Sam. It's Sim. So, hold on. It's his first name is Simu.
Okay.
Simu, and his last name is Liu.
Lou.
Simu Liu?
Simu Liu, yeah.
Something like that.
You just are we hosting a spelling bee now?
I didn't want to.
If it wasn't for him,
I don't want to.
If it wasn't for him, Awkwafina would have been like top, just because she's so great at it. But the scene that kind of threw me out of it was when she's hanging from the bamboo pillar mm-hmm. and she was yelling for help. It didn't feel natural. It just kind of felt just like help. And I was just okay, like it doesn't feel like you're actually falling.
But
you're gonna get saved, okay?
You know what the funny thing is that I actually do really, really like, because you can tell they stole that scene from Rush Hour 2.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's definitely a scene that entire sequence is a Rush Hour 2.
I recently watched the first Rush Hour. It's so great.
Yeah,
I forget how good it is.
Both those movies hold up really well.
What about the third one?
I like moments in the third one.
Okay. They literally talk about how what's his name?
Mm-hmm.
What's the director's name that like he can no longer come to the United States? Oh my god, he was married to Sharon Tate.
I forgot.
Because he's in the third one.
Yeah.
Basically, they just talk about how like they got their butts checked and like that man had a very big ring.
Oh yeah.
And stuff like there are jokes like that.
Wow, I gotta watch that.
It's super,
I gotta watch it again.
It's super like anti-trans and stuff like that. Where where like she takes off a wig and she's bald and he's like, oh man, I made out with a woman. I made out with a man. Am I gay? and yes, it is early 2000. It's like the mid 2000s.
So there are moments, but there's one that they go a little racial is when they go to a dojo. Uh-huh. And there's certain names of the dojo, of people in the dojo, where it's like you one person's name you, one person's name me.
What's your name? You.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I'm talking about you. Yeah, I'm you.
Yeah.
He goes, no, you're not me. He's me. Like, something like that.
I'm me. No.
And then one was when they're in the hospital and they have I guess a goon, and he's like, speaking French. He's Asian, but he's speaking French.
Oh yeah. He's like, oh Lee, what does he get? What does this guy say?
Yeah, he's like, I don't speak French.
He's like, I don't speak French, and he goes, speak normal. Stop disgracing yourself.
Yeah, come on. He's all, you're Chinese.
You're Chinese.
Yeah.
Speak Chinese. Speak Chinese.
And it's funny, but
the problem is I actually really do like that scene.
but it's with the sister, right?
Cancel. Keep it with the Nerds. Cancel right here now.
It's because I don't know if you've seen that movie lately.
I have to show you that scene.
Yeah,
after
that scene's really funny because the scene goes on where Chris Tucker is going, I'm gonna shoot him, and then he keeps on saying, shoot me, then shoot me, and then he goes, all right, and then he fires the gun, and then it clicks, and he's like, oh. Wait, there are no bullets in this gun.
Oh, sorry.
He's like, oh, sorry. And he's like, dude, I'm trying to kill people. What are you doing? And then he puts the gun back to his head. And the French guy's like, oh, wait. And it's a really funny scene.
It's really great.
That's a great scene.
The thing is that like it just shows how great chemistry is Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan together. Right. That's the thing.
The funny thing was they didn't have that good of a chemistry in the first one. They built up to it.
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
But that's perfect.
Yeah.
But besides
going back to Shang-Chi.
But the reason why I was saying that scene doesn't work is because I feel like they're trying to keep the action up, and they don't take a breather for the comedy of her hanging off the roof.
True.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you notice, because inside of Rush Hour 2, they save for that comedy of, what was it?
But that wasn't a
Lee getting
comedic
pushed off.
moment in the movie, though. It
Yeah,
was
it
like
is.
a moment of intensity. Like, the only comedic moment there is where she's like, she got caught by one of them, and she starts singing Hotel California.
That was great.
That was so great.
I mean, that's really funny. But the thing is that, but even
I kind of want to do that in real life now. You get stopped by a cop.
I'm gonna fight you naked. You can sing Hotel. We'll see which one works more. We'll see which. We'll see
They
which.
won't know because it's the art of confusion. They're gonna see a big naked man slapping his body, punching his nutsack,
And just
and then a
some
random dude with a mic singing Hotel California. He's like, "There's two different situations here. I don't know what to handle it."
Are they together?
One's crazy and one's really crazy.
Are we fighting here? Are we dancing? Like, what are we doing?
I didn't
But
sign up for karaoke.
but the thing is, but no matter what, even if it's like a moment of intensity or a moment of of comedic, there needed to be a moment where it stretched. It
needed to kind of build itself up a
it
little
needed
more.
it needed a build because it happened immediately. She got pushed off, and then he immediately basically parkoured his way down there, and then went to go catch her, and then the bamboo immediately breaks. And there is a comedic moment inside of Rush Hour 2 during that scene, is because when it's both
They're both hanging.
when they're both hanging, he's like, "Oh, don't worry, Chinese bamboo is very strong." And then it starts breaking, and he goes, "Are you sure?" And he goes,
And it breaks in the movie too.
yeah. And
it does.
he goes, "Yes, very sure." And then it finally breaks, and then he goes, "Dot dot 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 dot,"
Yeah.
and then that's when they land in like the food stalls.
So going back to the character, so Aquafina, we know as a comic relief, she's probably like second, if anything, if first, if it wasn't
Right.
for Simulu, however you pronounce his name. I apologize. What did we think of him as Shang-Chi?
I liked him as the straight man because he's not even really the straight man.
No, because he has awkward moments too when he's with Aquafina's character.
Because I really do feel like I feel like the way that he's played, he feels like a real person.
Yeah, he feels very real, like a person, like very relatable as
Down
well,
to
too.
earth. But that's what makes it good, because what's Shang-Chi's power? Nothing besides being a badass kung fu fighter.
Yeah, it's the thing. He's just a guy that knows kung fu.
Which apparently they gave him the 10 rings.
He's using a weapon. That's like, Cap and his shield and the super soldier serum.
When we get to that, I have a theory, and we'll get to it. But anyway, for all of that, I actually really like that. The person who plays his sister is pretty good.
Pretty good, yeah.
She gives enough dread and stuff like that.
She's got a very mysterious. That was the thing, is she didn't overwhelm any situation. You can tell that she was the secondary character, but not in a disrespectful way, because she was the sister in the shadows that basically had to kind of teach herself how to survive, because no one was there for her. And they didn't just kind of put her in the back and say you're just going to be in the shadows and only be relevant when we need you to be. It was more like she came up and was like, I am the woman in the shadows that can still do stuff. And she even because there was that moment during the dragon fight scene where the dragon what's his name?
The Guardian.
The Great Protector.
The Great Protector. Thank you. We can't use the other name. Can we mention that name?
You could say what his name was
His
in the comic
original
books.
name
His original
was
name in the comic books was Fing Fang Foom.
I know.
I feel like that's
know.
more fun.
It is fun, but
It's
it's I
fun
get
to
why
say.
you couldn't say it, but it's like
It's a dragon.
I think because it's also going to be,
people can take it the wrong way in 2021.
that
Really?
no, but
Yeah.
then
So
also
are we gonna go back to Mulan and call and then change Mushu to the Protector?
Maybe.
no, you're just not going to have him at all, like in the live action.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Say that's how you fix the problem.
That's how you fix the problem.
But there was that moment where
that movie looked like a fan film, dude.
there was that moment where she throws her dagger to basically get some of the soul eaters out of his eye, and they lock and make eye contact.
Yeah.
She went from a secondary shadow character to a full on I know what I'm doing because I've trained for this moment kind of situation. And she became
right.
the essential character to help Shang-Chi defeat the
'Cause
massive
that
Leviathan
could have
soul
ended
eating
very,
dragon.
very terribly of her throwing a dragon shard straight at a dragon's eye.
Yeah, it could have
Yeah.
been
I
could've-
oh god, oh, what did you do?
Counterintuitive.
You could have shot it 2
Whose
feet
side
to
are
the
you?
left.
Whose side are you on?
You just went shoot. I would have preferred that.
Yeah.
The aim, man. The precision it needed to just throw it that way and just quickly get all of them.
Can you imagine the dragon like, whoa?
That's a robot chicken sketch right there waiting to happen.
Yeah.
God, my eye!
Why would you do this?
You're supposed to be helping me!
Are you crying? Yes, I'm crying. I have my eye gone. My eye's gone.
You basically used my scale to
blind me.
Blind me? What kind of fighter are you?
So the Soul Eater comes and he's like, "It's okay, man. Don't worry about it. Just take a breath. Take a breath." No, man. No.
No, I'm helping these people from you guys.
From you.
Jerks.
You know what? I see your point. Let's
You know what?
kill them. Let's kill them.
Get him right now. There you go, Seth Green. Take that. That's your robot chicken episode.
But yeah,
Wait for our paycheck soon.
Ming Na Wen was really good as the ant. I really enjoyed her. Ming Na Wen.
That's that was her?
That was Ming Na Wen. Wait, was it?
No, I don't think it was.
Now you're confusing me. No. My bad. It's not Ming Na Wen because Ming Na Wen is Mulan. I think.
Yeah, I was like, no, that is not her.
My brain connected it because we were talking about Mulan. What was
on Marvel?
Marvel, Disney.
I gotta go back. I gotta change some dials.
She's also she can't be her because she's a character in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
So
you can't use the same actor. Technically.
You really want to go down this road?
Anyways.
You really want to go down this road?
Move on.
Chris Quicksilver and Kraven the Hunter are the same person.
So are Vision and Jarvis.
Yeah, Vision and Jarvis.
That's true.
Literally Peter's principal.
Okay, we get it. Can All right, let's move on.
Oh, I don't know why, but I just thought of this guy because he was funny. The guy in the bus. He was recording everything. Hey guys, welcome. He's like, we're back at you.
I'm gonna give some commentary.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you my take on how this fight is actually going. Dude, that character is us.
Yeah.
If we were in the situation,
I was so upset.
Why? Because it was
relatable.
You?
Huh?
Because it was you.
Yeah, because they just made me look so terrible.
And he's all like, "You got it, man."
It was not. It wasn't a flattering.
Never mind.
It wasn't a flattering shoot. It was really humid in San Francisco, and my beard went all curly.
That's great, man. I freaking love that part.
Yeah, it was pretty funny and stuff like that.
The aunt, going back to the aunt, because you said the aunt was really great. She did do a good job in kind of just like being the wise aunt to kind of like show him the way.
She's from Crouching Tiger,
Hidden Dragon.
Yeah,
so she's the main character in that. What was her name again? What's her name?
Come on, computer guy.
Yeah, so that way I don't make a fool out of myself.
Too late for that, buddy.
Hey, man.
53 minutes in, you're already doing this yourself. You don't even need my help for that.
I'm gonna get you.
Michelle,
no, you won't.
Michelle Yeoh.
There it is.
Good job.
Michelle Yeoh. Yeah.
Good job, Nick.
As soon as I heard Michelle, I was like, Michelle Yeoh.
Round of applause for Nick and not generalizing.
You know what?
Actors.
You keep clapping. I'm gonna start cursing. I'm gonna do it randomly. I'm just gonna do it randomly. No, that was the cable.
God dang it! I was like, I thought you freaking cut him off. I'm like, thank you.
Wait, you thought it what?
Nothing.
He thought I cut you
No,
off.
I'm good. I'm
Yeah, you
good.
did.
I'm not. I'm good.
Yeah, you did.
I'm good.
Yeah, you did.
What did he say?
He cursed.
No, I said I thought you cut him off.
You said the F word.
No.
Yeah, you did.
I'll go back at
You have to go
53
back.
minutes.
Yeah.
54
Yeah,
minutes.
53 minutes.
You did. You said it.
Okay then.
I'm so happy. I'm so happy because it's not just me.
It's not me
It's
anymore.
not just me.
My name is Nick, and he could. Yeah, I freaking edit the podcast, and what? I can cuss all I want. Don't cuss because I'm gonna cut you out.
Just every.
I can hear me.
So,
oh my god, dude, I'm sweating. I can sense
honorable
the heat coming
mention
from that
to
side.
Bryan for doing all the work of editing the podcast. he does do a lot of work and put up with us as well too.
Oh, thanks.
No, he doesn't put
He's very patient, guys.
He literally clips. He just bakes boxes then clips it in there. That's it. That's all he does.
Deep down, Nick appreciates it. Any other actors we should mention? The dad. The dad was ominous.
The actual Mandarin, yes, he was actually really cool. I actually
The
really
orange,
and I really enjoyed the idea of them poking fun at how ridiculous the name the Mandarin is.
They kind of like use that opportunity to basically say like, okay, well, we can't use names like Fing Fang Fung because it doesn't necessarily fit in with like the culture they're trying to grasp.
Because it's racist.
Exactly.
No.
Now you agree.
No. I just want to
Even
make a
though
joke.
but Fing Fang Fung is a fun name to say.
No, but
it is fun, but still.
I'm gonna be totally honest with you. When it's I get it when it's like a character and their name is like, you know, whatever, where it's just like, yeah, that's kind of offensive. Like it just kind of sounds like you just put it.
The Mandarin's real name in the comic books was Fu Manchu.
Yeah, like that's racist. Like an Eastern character, and we called him Fu Manchu.
Fu
like,
Manchu.
That's literally that's like you like whenever people like have that long mustache, they say it's the Fu Manchu.
It's the Fu Manchu.
Yeah, but whereas when it's a dragon.
That's a different story.
It's a different. You can't be racist towards a dragon. Like,
well, this is gonna also be in China as well too. So,
do you think they would build a fence to that? I feel like there's.
Yeah.
I feel
Marvel
like
the
is
freaking whatever his name is, whatever his position is in China, got offended for being called Winnie the Pooh.
Yeah, but that's because it's hilarious.
And this is why keeping up with the nerds will never hit China.
The thing is, though, is
Thanks,
that
Nick.
when it comes to Hollywood and their projects, when they hit
try
a
to play
certain,
it safe.
yeah, they try to play it safe
really
because
safe.
honestly, a lot of the box office money does come from China.
It's like
worldwide.
I think it's more than 50% of like the actual box office money.
I think it's like 56, 54%.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah,
but that's the thing is that even if you were to try to censor this as much as possible, let's say that this is the movie that's going to be going out there, right? Because I know that there's tons of movies, like Venom is one of them, that essentially has to be marketed and edited a certain way so that the Chinese market can watch it.
Yeah, because Venom loved that movie. Like
China loved Venom.
Yeah, like they loved Venom.
Oh my god, they
like,
just loved the deal.
That's
with
the reason why we're getting a
posters.
second
Like,
one.
Yeah, the posters.
Yeah.
Have you seen all the posters for all the Chinese
good
market
ones.
and Japanese market?
Yeah.
They're so well done.
Dude, they're so. Do you know why people went to go see Venom? Right? Because they made it. Because the commercial for Venom was animated.
Oh really?
It was a little animated Venom.
Why didn't we get that?
Because they knew we
don't want that. We wanted to see.
We wanted to see. We wanted to see Tom Hardy,
Yeah.
but they were like, "Oh, it's like a little animated Venom," and he's just like, "Come see my movie," and like they were like,
I gotta find that after this.
It's so funny, dude.
Yeah.
It's so. I literally saw it and I was like, "Man."
Speaking of Venom, did you hear
That's
that
great.
Venom 2 is PG-13?
Really?
It got a PG-13. Yeah, Sony's released it. It will be PG-13.
Whatever. I mean, I don't have high hopes for it.
I didn't expect it to be rated R, honestly. I don't know why people thought it was going to be because of Carnage.
It's because people get too comfortable going to and actually bringing that idea into this topic. This movie, I feel like, is going to suffer for one reason, and it's because people are not going to be. They're not gonna see this movie because it's a Marvel movie. They're just gonna kind of ignore it because it doesn't have like a main Marvel character on there, which is kind of stupid because Shang-Chi has been more relevant in the comics recently. He's been making appearances like on and off, like in the 70s, maybe showcasing himself here and there in a couple issues. Then in the 2000s, he had his own series. He was kind of doing his own thing. He was in the Civil War comics as well. He was in not the there's like two Civil Wars, right?
No, he was in the first one.
He was in the first one.
He was mostly with like Misty Knight and like Iron Fist and just like the Marvel Knight.
Yeah, he was in there, and then
he's one of the Defenders, isn't he? Like he partners up with the Defenders a lot more.
Yes and no, but then he has his own issue, which started this last year in 2020.
In the story arc in this one, he's taking on the Marvel universe.
Yeah, I felt like not.
Wait, he's like killing the Marvel universe?
No, he's like fighting all the like Marvel heroes and stuff like that.
Why?
I don't know.
Marvel really likes doing that, where it's just like, yeah, we put a hero and then he just like beats
Punisher
up everybody.
versus the Marvel universe. And it's just like
Deadpool kills the Marvel universe.
I
or
will say
whatever.
that Disney is flopping on its advertisement here because I've noticed, and maybe because if I was handling the marketing team for Shang-Chi, I would be highlighting the fact that this is Marvel Studios Shang-Chi. That's how I would get butts in the seat.
Well, the marketing I've seen an ad where it says meet your new favorite Avenger. And
He's not an Avenger though.
And I was just
they
like,
referenced it in the end credits,
The
which
end
we'll
credit-
talk about
the
it.
end-
Yeah,
the end credits kind of sounds like he's invited.
He's a new Avenger.
Like he's invited to like
the new Avengers.
to like the new Avengers. Like he may be a member and stuff like that.
I mean, I do like that at the end where the Avengers are aware of his power and they they want to meet with him.
Yeah.
I do like that a lot. So it's like they're not blindsided
before
by
we go to
something like that.
Right.
Before we get to the end credits, because I do want to hear you. I feel like you are going to be the one that kind of like understands this a little bit more. But will this movie Will this movie successfully market itself to become a box office hit? Because you said it. You enjoyed this movie more than Black Widow.
Yes, very much so.
I will say yes, because it was more fun for me.
I
would go see this movie again. I would not go see Black Widow again.
Okay, and then you.
Yeah, I said I thoroughly enjoyed it more than Black Widow because it was more fun, and then also just to see these new characters were really interesting.
Refreshing.
It was.
You know what the thing is that I feel like you're right. It is refreshing because he isn't introduced to other characters. Like he isn't, so they don't have to shoehorn. Because I feel like for Black Widow there was a lot of restraints. There was a lot of restraints.
We didn't talk about Trevor. One of what's his?
Oh,
the
yeah,
actor
Ben
that plays him.
Kingsley.
I was gonna get to that.
Yeah, we completely forgot. I was thinking like, did we miss anyone? And I'm like, yeah, Ben Kingsley's character comes back in this one, and then
we get
freaking great.
The chicken
my
pig.
bag here? No, I don't.
We get the chicken pig.
The chicken pig.
But I do like the idea that they reference, which All Hail the King, and they finally told you what happened to Trevor Flattery after he was broken out of prison.
I liked he wrapped up Iron Man 3. He was basically giving a synopsis of Iron Man 3.
He did.
Yeah, it was great.
He basically just said like, yeah, this is what happened. Yeah. I got hired to do a performance. I did a performance. Found out that my producer was a terrorist.
Yeah.
What was it? Iron Man blew him up.
Yeah.
Then I went to jail.
Yep.
Then the Mandarin which out found me, brought me over here.
Yeah.
Tried to execute me, but then they loved me. So then
They like my Hamlet.
Yeah, they loved my Hamlet. So now I perform for them every weekend.
Yeah.
He's fantastic. I felt like he didn't shine so much in Iron Man 3 because he was just kind of like, we were all pissed off that he wasn't the Mandarin.
It was the shock factor.
I really wasn't pissed off about it. I really didn't.
But that was the general consensus, is that he wasn't the real Mandarin, and people were pissed off about that. But now that we see him here, I feel like he had the second win, like a second chance to make up for like people being pissed off at him, and he did such a great job. Like, I feel like lost it when they were in the car right before they were going to the forest, and he's just like, the thing that changed my life was the masterpiece they saw with Planet of the Apes. I was like,
Brian was
oh
dying.
My God. I can't believe they trained the monkeys to ride the horses.
Wait, so you thought that they trained the monkeys to talk? No. They trained them to ride the horses.
But still, I don't get it.
I still don't know how they did that.
I was just dying when he's like, the masterpiece was Planet of the Apes in the 70s. Out of all freaking movies.
That's what inspired him, dude.
I like how he's holding the little thing, and he's all like, listen, I am the one that is translating for this mystical creature here, all right? And he goes, brr. Oh, he says go. Go.
He says you should probably speed up. I think Trevor really did. I'm really happy that they used him sparsely. I really did like that scene. You have to go to the restroom, don't you?
No, I'm gonna go.
He's gonna get his bag.
You gotta go make a tinkle.
No, I gotta get my bag because he's from Liverpool.
Oh, whatever.
Sports.
So anyway, I'm gonna turn off his camera. Just come back.
Just stop.
He has that way when he's editing, he just puts it on and he's like, "Why don't I have?" Just sees that like after he left, his camera just ends. What?
What?
Nothing.
You might have some difficulty uploading the video. Just kidding.
Anyway.
Wait, what?
No, I'm kidding. His face got so sad.
Renee turned off your camera.
How did I do that if I was sitting over here?
And he got up really quick.
It's like, no. We are hitting an hour mark, so we do have to move on.
Yeah. So my thing is that I feel like it isn't. Yeah, you're gonna get a lot of Manchester United fans.
We just sing the Manchester United song.
I'm telling you, man, Manchester United does not like Liverpool, man.
They don't.
Yeah, man, they'll come at you.
I know.
They're gonna come at you, bro.
Bring it.
All right. You sing your songs. Anyway, you sing your songs. But but the thing is that I feel that Trevor, because of the bait and switch of Trevor Flattery, I think that because Iron Man 3, if you watch that movie again and yes, the Mandarin is fake and everything else, I love that character. That character is hilarious.
Well, yeah, once you settle in over the fact, yeah.
But I think in this movie, he really got to, because you knew who he was and you knew like the fact that he is an actor and everything else, that you can just let him play his role.
And I think you were excited to see him because I think half the theater heard you go like, "No way!"
Yeah, I was like, "Yes!"
Nick was really
I was
loud
so
with it.
excited. Come on, Ben Kingsley.
Yeah,
We got
he's
Ben
looking
Kingsley
great.
back, dude. Not only I loved that, and because I mean, come on, man, he's Gandhi.
He is.
I always loved that. What was it? That scene in Masters of None where they were like, "Well, Ben Kingsley did an accent." And he goes, "For playing Gandhi," and he goes, "Yeah, but I don't think you won the Oscar for accents." Like,
Yeah.
Let's
that.
move on to the end credit scenes because we got to wrap this up. So
right.
we can move on to our other two topics.
So the end credit scene is Wong basically taking Shang-Chi, and when Shang-Chi took the rings, he triggered something.
Yeah.
It's a beacon that's going out that is calling to someone. So this is the reason why I was saying I have a theory. So what about if the reason why they were blue when his dad was using them is because his dad was just using the power within them. He was brute forcing it.
Mm-hmm.
And everything else. They didn't choose him.
Okay.
Whereas Shang-Chi was actually chosen by the rings.
Yeah.
And because in the original comics, they actually have like heroes inside of them, right? And they all have like specific talents. So what about if he was using the rings incorrectly? He was just using them as a tool, but there are more powers that are within them that he never unlocked because he never understood what the rings were.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, but also the rings didn't choose him. He wasn't worthy enough to activate the rings.
Are you saying that these rings are coming from like a celestial?
Could be. What was it? They also could be. I mean, something maybe. I mean,
the Eternals is coming out in November.
Eternals was supposed to come out first.
Yeah, and in the end credit scene, they had Bruce Banner, and then
What is with you guys in Captain Marvel? Like everybody on my right, on my left, just went ugh when like Captain Marvel popped up on the screen.
We're just tired of
You all just
unpopular
I thought
opinion. Brie Larson just ruined the character for me.
Why?
Just the way she is. She's very
She was cool. Like
opinion driven when it comes to her beliefs and stuff.
I'm
like
sorry.
that.
What? She should just keep on playing Captain Marvel and shut her mouth? Is that
No,
what you're trying to say?
it's no. I'm not gonna go
no,
to that
I
far.
will still because I don't like Brie Larson. So
Here's my thing.
no, what I didn't like too is that she, when it came to the press release for Captain Marvel, she didn't want any male interviewers in her press release at all. She didn't want to interview with any male reporters at all. She's just wanted strictly all females.
Okay. Well,
She's just. I don't feel like she's a good person. I used to like her. I especially liked her in Scott Pilgrim.
That's the only way I like her is just in Scott
I
Pilgrim.
think what was it? Because a lot of people were. I know there's a lot of like clips of people like saying like I don't think Brie Larson gets along with the rest of the Avengers cast
it's true.
and everything like that.
100%.
Elizabeth Olsen said that she didn't agree with her on a lot of stuff.
Oh really?
Yeah, that's why they weren't together on any of the Endgame press release or Infinity War stuff as well too.
Like they don't like each other.
No, it's from what I've heard rumors as well too. She likes to push her beliefs onto people. Like she's very, like I said, you know how she's very opinionated.
Right.
She likes to kind of say her opinions and want people to agree with her opinions only.
Okay, so besides Brie Larson and our dislike of her. Anyways, moving on. We have Captain Marvel and Bruce Banner basically saying it's not of this planet. It's not made of vibranium. It's made of just something else entirely different. Then Captain Marvel says it's not of alien origin either.
Right.
Because she has never seen this out in her patrols. Cool. So what could this be? And that's what's making me lean towards the
Mephisto.
Celestials.
Oh,
It has to be.
That is something.
Not even Wong recognizes this. So this isn't even like magical as well. This is something different.
Going along what we know, what if it's Kang?
from
It's
like
alternate.
the future.
Yeah.
No, because it is alternate dimensions.
Yeah.
But how I get it.
What about-
Maybe if you're right, I swear to God, I'm walking out, dude. I'm just gonna be like,
Yes.
God dang it, man.
I mean, I'm
No.
usually right. So
Yeah,
anyway,
because that's why I'm like, God, if you were right, I'd be
No,
so
it
mad.
sounds more plausible now.
'Cause it's
That's
about
No,
different
I'm gonna
dimension.
say it's a celestial. It's something for it. Like maybe a celestial made this because it only makes sense. Because where are the Eternals gonna fit in this entire?
well,
like,
because they
sequence?
said that they were unsure of whether or not he found them in a crater or a tomb.
exactly.
So they don't know where he found them exactly.
So a celestial being maybe
it could be a
left them.
celestial.
Yeah, that's why I'm
but-
saying that.
But it also could be of alien origin. Just because Captain Marvel hasn't seen it doesn't mean that they're not alien in
Could
origin.
be ancient aliens.
Yeah, it could because they did say like, oh yeah, like my dad did have them for over 1,000 years.
Mm-hmm.
So that
But
means
they're older than that.
They're
way
older than that. And
It would
everything
be
else.
really funny because again, I'm gonna go back to this. This movie had no reference to any of the Avengers. It had very little references.
Dude, they talked
mentioned
about
the
Iron
blip.
Man. Dude,
they
they
mentioned
talked about Iron Man.
No,
3 a
but what I'm
lot.
saying is it didn't like fit itself into like
Oh,
the existing
like it was
universe. It
trying
just
to, yeah.
like mentioned
Right.
it. Like with like Spider-Man, they had like Iron Man in there.
Constant, yeah.
Captain America always has like the different characters in there.
Right,
this
right,
one
right,
was
right.
like, this is Shang-Chi and his grand adventure, and it's just in the Marvel universe.
Right.
So at the end credit scene, we're left. We have Wong, we have Bruce Banner, and we have Captain Marvel, but none of them can figure out what this ring is about. Then you look at the future, and you start to see that Eternals comes out in November, and then you have Spider-Man No Way Home.
But if you go by the original timeline, Eternals is supposed to release before
So
Shang-Chi.
if Eternals comes out and they start to reference magical, create or artifacts, not magical artifacts, but artifacts of when the Earth was first created, that could be one of those things that was created.
The
at the
thing
beginning
is
of,
that
of
the
Earth.
here's the reason why I don't think it's in the Eternals. It doesn't look like their tech. It doesn't look like their tech because their tech is much more of like that yarn.
I'm
I
trying to
love
think
how
of-
Rene literally was like, I said Eternals, and Rene was like, yeah, and then you said, yeah, but it doesn't look like your tech. Pick a side, dang it.
Yeah, guys are making a good point.
All right, you know what? No,
he's on that wall, man. He's on the
Let's
wall.
end it this way. What do you think then?
Hold on. Before
No, hold on, because he agreed on both ends. I want to know where he
I can't
stands.
agree on both ends.
No,
Well,
you
no,
can't.
'cause
Be
it
a
says
man.
politics,
Be a man.
Hold on,
Like-
this is the reason why I say it doesn't look like their tech is because a lot of their tech is a lot more internal, and not only that, but also it looks like almost as if like it's like this like life force that's like put into like yarn that they can then weave into a weapon. Like if you look at like
Maybe
Athena,
they grabbed rings or they melted something and they said, hey, there it is.
No,
I don't know. It could be.
no.
Renee, what do you think, Mr. I agree with both because I don't want to see a fight happen right now.
Why would there be a fight?
I don't know.
You would let the fight.
I
happen.
would, yeah, obviously. But you're over here going like, oh,
Because
no.
you're both making good arguments.
Okay, so what's your point then?
because Bryan chose violence. That's why. He chose violence today. When he came in, he was
I
just
don't
like,
know.
violence.
That's the thing. Like, I don't know much about Shang-Chi, so I can't say what the
Oh my
rings are from.
God.
That's the thing.
Just make something
but-
up.
but that's the thing that-
Mephisto.
I don't want to make something up.
No, but the thing is that the
I don't want to
rings-
be wrong.
But the thing is that there's a lot of the times Marvel doesn't really change items completely.
No, they don't. Have
They-
they explained what the rings are in the books?
Yes,
They're
What?
different. They're completely different.
they're completely different. They're literally ancient heroes that have been trapped inside that like. their
So this is
spirits
going to be
have been-
something different.
That their
Yeah,
spirits
yeah.
have been. But the thing is that they
Celestial artifacts.
But that's why I'm saying it could be that there's more powers inside of them, and there's something
Probably.
alive inside of them. That's what the beacon is. It's something that's alive that's inside of them. The other thing I really wanted to talk about was the fact that we do not have Professor Hulk anymore.
Yeah. We just saw Bruce Banner. That was it.
Yeah.
And also, did anybody else notice he's aging incredibly fast?
So you don't think that
He still has the arm sling, too. That's the thing.
you think
I-
that he's no longer the Hulk?
I think so.
I think that his body was damaged
After the gauntlet.
after the gauntlet. Where if I Hulk out, I will die.
His heart can't take it.
They'll probably explain that in She-Hulk.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking in She-Hulk or something like that. That might be what's going on, and also that might be the reason why Wong is training Abomination.
Yeah, because I felt like Abomination was like,
She-Hulk as well.
yeah,
so.
I felt like Abomination was kind of like in and out kind of thing.
I mean,
Well, yeah. I figured that was going to be the role. That was it. It was just going to be about the
Yeah,
fight, and that's it. He's
That's-
gone. He's in and out.
yeah, but that was my thing though, is that would make sense if they needed a new Hulk.
What if Wong was the one that was training the new Avengers?
I wouldn't mind that.
How
Wouldn't
cool
mind
would
that.
that
I think
be?
that'd be interesting.
That'd be
That'd be
really
really cool.
dope. Because
Like,
like he's bringing in like Abomination, he brought in Shang-Chi.
He's the new Nick Fury.
Yeah, that'd be dope.
I'd be interested with that.
I'd be totally
listening
down for that.
to Beyonce the entire
I-
time.
I-
He's
yeah,
drinking
I wanted to hum Single Ladies as
as he's kicking butt.
he's kicking butt. I think that'd be hilarious.
Speaking about the last end credit scene, because we're already reaching minute 15, it was just the sister regaining control of the Ten Rings and making it her own facility.
Which also, I don't know how you didn't figure that was going to happen.
I mean, yeah,
His
but it was
sister already controlled a underground fight club,
Yeah.
and then we were like, all right, here's this terrorist organization. You go dismantle that.
so.
And the way she said it too, of like her reasoning why she did it was because my father has built an empire, so why not I built my own?
Yeah,
Yeah, like
it was kind of building up towards something like that.
That's why I wasn't really shocked. I was kind of like, okay, well, this is interesting. I was like, let's see where this goes.
They're
you know?
basically, I think it's just kind of like a setup to let you know as a viewer that the Ten Rings will exist in the background.
Right,
And
right,
if
right, right.
and if anything, the end credits never said Shang-Chi will return. Obviously, we know that. It said the Ten Rings will return. So
Yeah.
it's kind of referencing that these
think-
characters are going to come back.
They're gonna
I-
come back in a different, either in a show or a movie.
I think
Yeah.
that they're going to be a Disney Plus show,
It'd be great, the Ten Rings.
but
An
I think,
assassin.
I don't think it's gonna be 10 Rings. I think them will be featured in a show. I don't think it's gonna be.
I think I know what it is.
What it is?
What?
It's, the Suit Wars.
Oh,
okay. Yeah, sure.
Because I feel like what's going to be happening.
They seem like they want to keep up with the tech and stuff.
because they look
Armor
like
Wars,
they look like in Armor Wars. Because what it sounds like is it sounds like Tony's tech is now being misused and being distributed out, and people are now getting their hands on like Iron Man what was it, armors,
Yeah.
and Rhodey is trying to like uphold his legacy and stuff like that. And I think that would be a nice through point of the Ten Rings are kind of what put him on this path.
Yeah,
And we have to now fight the Ten Rings.
that'd be cool.
To kind of like, and that would bring Rhodey's full circle. Because I would love it if he became Iron Man. I want him to become Iron Man.
Just make him Iron Patriot or War Machine.
No, I want him to take up the mantle of Iron Man.
Are we getting an Ironheart show?
Oh yeah.
But the thing is that you can have an Ironheart show, and that is like Rhodey's new like protege or something else. Why?
I wouldn't mind that.
Yeah, I would. I wouldn't mind it,
Why
but
don't you
I
want
felt
Rhodey to be in the Iron Man suit?
no, it'd be great. But I would like to see him be his own. I think having him be his own character, like be War Machine or Iron Patriot or something along that lines.
He's already been Iron Patriot.
He was technically. Well, make him like the new and improved War Machine. That'd be dope. Because War Machine technically has a variation where he was in black and white, not the silver suit.
But here's my thing though. The reason why because he has been Iron Man before.
The new War Machine.
But he has been Iron Man before.
I know. I'm just saying this is my own preference. So
I know, but you're wrong.
can you
So-
just let me freaking enjoy the? This is what I want.
No.
Okay.
No. I gave you an answer. Move on.
I think we need to move on from this because we need to talk.
Would you
about
recommend
what
this movie to people?
Definitely.
Would you
yeah.
watch it again?
Definitely.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. 100%. I think this
yeah.
movie should be.
It was a great.
This movie is. You know what? I really hope this movie does become a box office success, so that Marvel understands that it can take the quote unquote, as the director said, the experimental risk.
Yes.
Which was stupid. It was a stupid thing to say. But I hope that it encourages more of these things, because the comic book industry is filled with just a bunch of characters that, if you want, what is it called? What is the word I'm looking for when you relate to someone?
Authentic.
No. Like diversity. It's got a diverse, it's got a library of diverse characters on there.
Right.
You can totally do that. Shang-Chi is probably the hidden gem right now. That's like, if you really want a good Marvel movie that's not entirely Marvel but is in the universe, Shang-Chi's it.
Right.
Yeah.
With that said, let's move on to another Marvel property. What If, featuring Doctor Strange this time around.
Yeah. What if Doctor Strange instead of his hands, lost his
I
heart.
mean, we've already kind of talked about it. We already know what's going on with it. I think the best way to discuss this is, did we enjoy it compared to the other episodes?
I felt like I really just wanted at the very end everybody to show up like as he's in the little ball and like have like Iron Man and everybody else go like darkest universe, darkest universe, darkest universe, because it is definitely the darkest like universe and everything else.
So I told Andy this.
He stopped
the
Thanos.
moment
Stop Thanos. You got to give him credit.
The moment I read the synopsis of it, where he's like, "What if he didn't lose his hands, but he lost his heart?" I immediately was like, "This is going to be the dopest episode yet." And I said this to Andy: one shots always are the issues that should be taking the biggest risks.
Yes.
They're the issues where nothing matters, have the writer go to the extremest possible reality, make it as sad and messed up as possible because it's not a part of the canon universe. And that is what this episode did. It said, what if Doctor Strange was just messed up because he lost the love of his life? To what extreme would he go to save her? He goes to the point where he destroys his own universe and is now stuck in a bubble, living the rest of his life by himself, mourning over his mistake.
And mind you, this was the first time the Watcher interacted.
Yes.
With a universe.
Interacted.
Yeah.
Interacted. Because he didn't necessarily. He just said, "That's on you, buddy. Peace out."
Yeah.
See, my thing is that I feel like as we go through this, that's going to keep happening.
Yes.
He's becoming more talkative.
He's not only becoming more talkative, but that is a normal thing for the Watcher to do.
Especially this one.
To interfere.
In this specific.
To say, I can't interfere, and then he starts interfering in certain things.
But the 616 Watcher does that. Not like, is it the 616 Watcher or is it a different one?
This is the same Watcher as it is in the comic books.
The 616?
Yeah. This one just looks over, because of the events of Loki, he is now looking over all these different
timelines.
All these splits.
But he can't interfere. Jeffrey Wright, man, he's such a gem.
Yeah.
Forget
I mean, we've already seen the Watchers inside of
I love
Guardians 2.
I love whenever the episodes go, you just see like a pan out like of the scenery with the Watcher in the background. Oh, really?
Yeah, because she's like, I don't like how he looks in the background. I'm like, dude, it's dope because that's what he does.
Yeah.
He's literally just watching you. And it's funny that Doctor Strange could sense his presence.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
He's like, I knew you were watching the entire time. I'm like, yeah, because this is, he can sense presences and stuff. But in terms of this episode, did you guys feel like this was a strong one?
Well, hold on. I feel that Doctor Strange started feeling his presence as he started gaining more mystical powers. Because in the very beginning, he didn't know that the Watcher was there. It was only when he had been absorbing things for centuries, where he then started to kind of realize that he's being watched. And the idea that Doctor Strange stopped time around him and just absorbed creatures for like
in the messed up possible way.
For centuries. Super interesting. It's also really interesting to see a hero lose.
Yeah.
To like see Doctor Strange lose. And it's like, because usually you're so used to seeing, like, especially when when the ancient one is like, the only person that could stop Doctor Strange is Doctor Strange. And you're thinking, okay, well, our the good Doctor Strange is going to figure a way out. He's going to, some way, somehow he's going to outthink it, get into the fight. Even though he's overpowering him, he'll then be able to, do whatever. To actually see him lose, though, that's interesting.
Yeah, because, again, this took the risk necessary to make you feel like, what? Not to say that I enjoy this stuff, but I laughed a couple times when it got really messed up, like when he was just devastated over the fact that this was an absolute event.
A fixed point in time.
And I'm like, yes, now we're getting into the deeper parts of the story where it's like he knows there's nothing he can do, so he really has to go out of his way to mess something up. And he does. And this is the darkest outcome. This is great.
I heard a lot of people complaining about an absolute point. A lot of people are complaining because apparently they're just like, that doesn't make any sense. That doesn't go with what Loki was saying. I don't agree.
Okay, explain why it doesn't.
So what they were saying...
You and I are looking at... I saw you do that kind of like, what?
So apparently a lot of people are complaining because they're basically saying every single time that Doctor Strange went back in time, he didn't create parallel universes.
Oh, he didn't.
He didn't branch.
But
this takes place after Loki. That's
no.
the thing.
Oh yeah.
Yes, it
No,
does.
they Marvel Studios has said that the events of Loki
What if?
has spiraled into What If.
So
Yes.
here's the thing. We've talked about,
because that's also the way
extensively.
that's also the way that their marketing was, because they were showing TVA screens and it was the Watcher talking over.
Yeah.
them.
Yeah. So we talked extensively about what we think about time being mentioned in writing and stuff like that, right? So when you start to deal with time and going back in time and absolute points in time in writing, it gets funky. And the thing is, like, we can all argue and say that with, like, there's no such thing as an absolute point because Loki explained it a certain way, but there can be in all these different things. Even the TVA and Loki basically said sometimes we just kind of let things go because it just happens that way. Oh, the Avengers went back in time to pick up the Infinity Stones. Why didn't the TVA interfere then? Well, because it was meant to happen.
Well, because Kang allowed it.
Exactly. And so now you have, this also being a thing where it's like, okay, well, Doctor Strange kept going back in time over and over again, and there's this absolute point that needs to happen. Why isn't the TVA, allowed to interfere in this instant? Because the TVA might have allowed it because of the events after Loki.
Well,
the
not only that,
multiverse
but
exists.
also I feel like the idea that they were having is that the universe is going to make you Doctor Strange. It's going to make you the Sorcerer Supreme. That's a fixed point in time.
That is the outcome of this.
You have to become the Sorcerer Supreme because later on we're going to need you as the Sorcerer Supreme in order to defeat Thanos, defeat Dormammu, defeat a lot of, and like deal with otherworldly and world-ending events. And if you fix this point, then you do not go back into time. You don't, go and study the mystic arts. You keep, being a doctor, and nothing happens.
Crap.
And literally the world. And
This is the outcome. This is what makes that outcome happen. If this is gone, you don't see this.
Yes.
So that's why this is supposed to happen.
That's why it's a fixed point. I think, and I feel like that's also I can't wait to see the Killmonger episode because I'm really interested to see how exactly that plays out, because that should be a fixed point as well. Because without Tony Stark becoming Iron Man, you don't have further study into the Avengers Initiative. You don't have people looking for Cap. You don't have Bruce Banner looking into gamma radiation. You don't have certain things. So, all of that is very important, and I'm really interested to see if whether or not how exactly Tony and Killmonger kind of like meet heads and where exactly that develops.
Yeah.
And stuff like that.
If we were to rank this episode amongst every other episode, where would you place this? I will say that it's probably
my second favorite.
Yeah.
Because the T'Challa one's still really good.
Yeah.
I still like the T'Challa one better.
The T'Challa one was great. I think this is just fun.
It was an interesting story.
Yeah.
It was a very interesting story.
And then the death of all Avengers was just awesome to see as well.
I like that one.
It was all right.
You like that one the most?
No, I like this one the most. I'm liking the ones when they come out. I'm ending up liking them one after another.
They get better, huh?
They get a little better for me because I like this one specifically a little bit more because the messed up ending. I like messed up endings.
You're with me on this. Yes!
I do like dark endings. Yeah,
I love dark endings because I love that when it comes to shows like this where they're not directly canon, or like shows that are just their own separate stories like Black Mirror. I only like the messed up ending ones in Black Mirror.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
Get you 100%.
You only like it when Anthony Mackie, falls in love with his best friend.
That's like the best ending ever.
All right, DC nerds. Let's switch gears for a second and talk about DC fandom.
Oh man.
Oh, that's a thing. Yeah.
Talking about blowing each other.
Speaking of which, do you hear the early screening reactions for the Batman?
Have you
What?
been seeing
Have you heard the reactions?
They're
for
screening the movie
So
already?
they started doing test screenings.
It's like a rough cut.
It's a rough cut of the movie, but apparently people are, and all they're doing is they're literally just going around town and saying, "Do you want to see a movie?"
Yeah.
They're not saying what it is.
They did that to you, right?
Yeah,
for the
that's
Hitman's
how-
Bodyguard.
That they did that to me for the Hitman's Bodyguard. They did that for a couple of movies.
So what are the yearly reactions?
Loving it.
That apparently it's amazing, and that Paul Dano is terrifying.
And that also the vibe of a film is just a pure, almost like
It's
a horror movie.
film. It's a horror film.
Yeah.
It's like the Zodiac.
Yeah.
Matt Reeves, man.
Matt
Oh,
Reeves
yeah.
made his own version of the Zodiac with Batman.
But that's the thing is
That's
like
just so awesome, isn't it? Dude, like you pitch that to the studio, they're like, yes. Like,
we're gonna make the Zodiac with Batman and Batman villains. Genius.
genius. Who's gonna play Batman? Robert Pattinson. You sure? Like,
Twinkle guy.
Let's take my money.
oh, it's just actually
Jesus,
Chuck
it was
his
hit me in the
wallet.
face. What is that? I know. I definitely cursed because I didn't see it coming.
Yeah. But your mic cut out in between the cursing, so it worked out. He just puts it in his
That's
pocket.
fine. I'm gonna get it back.
But
anyways.
other than
That's
that,
what you think.
so the Batman, I guess we're gonna get more on it in DC fandom on top of Black Adam. We're gonna get. What are you looking through?
You want $1?
It's not wait. That's my. That's the dollar. That no. You
What?
can't take that dollar away from that.
What's this?
You want to stub to F9?
You kept the stuff? You nerd.
What do you mean, you nerd?
Yeah,
what
you
is this
nerd.
podcast called?
Keeping up with not Fast and the Furious.
Why is this your lucky dollar?
Because my parents always believed to keep $1 in a wallet for good luck.
To give it to like a homeless person?
No, you just
You're
if
like, yes,
there's
I have
money
a
in the
dollar.
wallet, there's always gonna be money in your life.
Why do you look high?
Because it probably was. I don't know.
Did you guys want to see Bryan's credit card numbers?
No.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Can I get my wallet back?
He's so
This is what
nervous
happens- this is what
now.
happens
We
when
also
you
got to
throw-
talk about DC fandom because we're about to just.
This is what
we're about to hit an hour and 40.
Because you threw your wallet
the
at
whole.
me.
That was the bit.
You
It's over.
The bit's over. It's gonna go on TikTok.
see how surprising that is? See how rude it is when somebody just throws a wallet
This
at
whole
you?
bit's gonna go on TikTok. Yeah.
See how rude that is when just like a wallet hits you in the head? Isn't it just like aren't you like going like, wow, Nick, that was rude. That was really mean.
That was great.
That bit's going on TikTok.
And your wallet's not soft.
That's why
Like,
you
it's,
end it.
it's very painful. Anyway, DC fandom. So, because I'm a professional.
So we're gonna
Hey.
get more stuff on the Batman. Obviously, we're gonna
Yes.
get stuff on Black Adam, which I'm
Yes.
really excited about.
I'm assuming we're also going to get more stuff on the DC universe.
Yeah.
Because what it kind of sounds like is they're shutting down the CW.
it seems like it.
It seems like they're shutting down the CW
And just-
because all the shows are pretty much gone. The only ones that are left are Stargirl, Supergirl ends this year, Black Lightning ended last year,
Yeah.
and the Flash. The
Flash is
just
like
got,
the only thing that's going on.
the Flash got extended for another 2 years.
Really?
Yeah. They already signed Grant Gustin for another 2-year contract.
Okay.
Yeah,
The season finale wasn't great, and I just saw clips of it.
Dude, that season finale was rough.
Did he go back in time?
No, it was what was it?
Spoilers, guys.
Spoilers for the Flash.
If you watch it.
If you watch it, they fought Godspeed.
The one guy in the background. I watch it.
I watch it.
I watched it. But anyway, as somebody who was
it sucked?
watching the Flash, they took the Godspeed like part of the comic books, and they took all the cool things that were out of the Godspeed comic books, and they took those out.
You know those cool things that were about Godspeed? Yeah, none in there.
Like, okay, you know the part in the Godspeed like arc where like 30, 40 people in Central City all became speedsters.
Yeah, that was
and
cool.
Then Barry Allen like gets all of them and he starts training them how to be, and then
That was
Godspeed like just comes in
sick.
and murders everybody.
Yeah.
That's a sick moment. Doesn't have that.
Remember that one thing that was supposed to happen? Your phone is
like-
about to die.
we got it's like what at 15%.
It's at 5.
Oh, we're fine. Anyway,
Do you have a charger?
Not on me. Probably in my bag.
we'll make it.
We gotta wrap it up.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up because I mean, there's not a whole lot to talk about fandom.
Okay.
There's not a whole lot
Because they just announced it. It's going to be on what? October
It's going to be at the October 16th.
16th.
So October 16th. But the cool thing.
It's so nervous.
Just
Stop staring at it.
Go.
Stop interrupting. So anyway, the idea for DC fandom is that it's going to be what was it? They're doing the same thing they did last year because that was a huge success.
Yeah,
it was a huge success of being able to show all of their movies that are coming out, all the movies that are coming up and everything else, and then go, okay, cool, this is what's coming out and everything else. Yeah. So I'm assuming they're going to be announcing brand new movies that are coming out.
Brand new movies.
Where exactly the DC universe is going. Like where you should be able to see kind of like a trajectory of like, okay, after Suicide Squad, this is where we're going and everything else. Yeah, so I can't wait to see like Flash. I'm assuming what
the Peacemaker series.
Series. I'm assuming that the footage that we're going to see is the leaked footage.
Oh, from the Flash. Oh, that's true.
I'm assuming that's what we're going to see. It's going to be Flash inside of the Batcave and Michael Keaton talking to him.
Can I just throw a wild prediction out there? And it's going to be associated with...
They're like, you guys all got to hurry up.
Well, yeah, our phone's dying, or Nick's phone's dying. So.
Can you hurry up and make your point?
Okay, my point is...
Jesus!
My point is, I feel like what they're going to do... I'm going to piggy bank alongside what you said. Piggyback alongside what you were saying in that they're kind of getting rid of the CW. More than likely, I feel that this DC fandom, they're going to start announcing the new streaming service that's going to have everything on there. So they're probably going to say like, oh, we're going to partner up with HBO Max to release these series that are on there, but also you're going to have like a new DC thing that's going to be out there that's going to like kind of showcase all these different things.
Oh, was it off for a second?
Yeah, it was. I went like, and then I heard nothing, and I was like,
I forgot to change.
Are we excited for DC fandom?
Yes, definitely.
Are we going to cover it?
Yeah,
definitely. We did it last time. That's what we got most of our.
we
got most of our views on that.
God dang cable.
I gotta switch it up.
So anyway, yeah, DC fandom should be pretty sick. I can't wait to wake up in the morning and watch it and check it out.
Dope.
It's gonna be pretty sick. I can't wait to see an actual trailer, like a new trailer for the Batman. And see
Batman just beating another person up.
I'm looking forward to seeing a Flash trailer and seeing Michael Keaton back in that suit.
One thing I'm excited
to see Batman Beyond live action
and Black Adam.
And I'm also excited to see more gameplay footage for Gotham Knights and the Suicide Squad kills the Justice League.
Batman Beyond. Let's get Batman Beyond.
You know what? Honestly, I would not be surprised if they gave us a Batman Beyond movie.
I will cry.
Or a TV show, or a live action TV. I feel like it's made for a live action TV.
Batman Beyond.
That makes more sense.
Batman Beyond 2022, guys. Let's make it happen. Woo! All right, guys. Let's wrap up this episode.
Are you doing that just because my phone's about to die?
Yeah. Let's wrap it up. All right, guys. So just a reminder, you guys can find us on all audio platforms. If you're listening to this on Spotify, we also have Podbean, Apple Podcasts. If you're on there, go ahead and rate us. We have 3 ratings of 5 stars. Please, guys, support us. I love you guys. For those of you guys that have rated us, and for those of you guys who listen, thank you very much. We also find us on Google Podcasts as well. Find us on our website, keepingupwiththenerds.com. We're updating it, currently doing some new stuff on there. And like I said earlier in the podcast, we're working on some stuff come November. Can only give you the hint that we're going to be working alongside some people. We do have some guests lined up, and it's going to be an exciting month. So if you guys are interested in hearing more from different people, November is going to be the day. But, listen to us constantly. October's coming around, so Spooktober, Nerdtober, whatever we called it last year.
We have to start shooting those movies.
Yeah, so we're working on it, but we're going to have some stuff lined up. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Rene does an awesome job advertising all that, and let us know what you guys think of the thumbnails as well, because we put a lot of work into that.
Brian puts a lot of work into it.
And he wants to know you guys notice him.
Well, I love the thumbnails, all right? You said you loved the Candyman one.
The Candyman one is good. I liked it.
I'd notice you more if you didn't throw your wallet at me.
Oh, shut up. Get over it.
Ending the podcast.
Like I'm some kind of cheap whore. God.
Are we ready to end this issue?
Yes.
Yeah,
all right, guys, let's go ahead and wrap this up.
This has been Keeping Up with the Nerds, issue number 63. My name is Bryan.
Rene.
Recording at Undercity Comics in Whittier, California. We want to thank everyone for listening to this issue and hope to see you all next time.